Hello and welcome back to Lately Fashionable. I'm Chelsea Souter and today, December 13th, 2025, my channel turns 6 years old. Yay! So for this 6-year YouTube anniversary, I thought I would sit down, do some cozy hand sewing, and just make a friendly chatty video. So feel free to pull up a chair, get a cozy beverage, maybe a cookie or two, and you can hang out with me for however long I decide to ramble at you. Though I may have to record this in 2 parts because I did get a text half an hour ago that our lawn care guy will be here within the hour to do some trimming of hedges in our yard, so that will be loud and I may have to stop filming and come back. Anyway, as I mentioned, today is my 6-year YouTube anniversary. My first upload on this channel was December 13th, 2019. And my content, my style, and my channel name have all changed quite a bit in that time. I think that's normal though, and I feel like I've kind of settled into a rhythm of the kind of videos I like to make, and hopefully the kind of videos you like to watch. I started out doing a lot more historical sewing projects, but I never wanted to pin myself down to one style, so I was always kind of skipping around, I suppose, to my various interests, because I love making historical costumes and wearing them for events that I go to with my friends and being like completely dolled up for one day. But I also really enjoy vintage fashion, as you know, and I like to make clothes that I can wear in my everyday life. Now recently, those 2 interests have commingled, so I am making the vintage fashion to wear in my everyday life, and I'm really enjoying that. I think this year of dressing vintage has been going really well. I'm still enjoying it, now 9 months in, so that's a good sign. I did have someone ask me recently what I'm going to do when the year of dressing vintage is over, and the answer is I don't know. I haven't really thought much about it. Certainly haven't made any sort of decisions, but I think I'm not going to continue to limit myself to dressing vintage every day. I will still do it probably a good majority of the time because it is the style of clothing I most enjoy wearing, and I like how the vintage hair and makeup looks on me. I feel my most put together, my most, I don't know, genuine self, I suppose. So I'm really enjoying it, I'm really loving it, but I do kind of miss branching out to other interests in the fashion world, I suppose. Before I started this, I was kind of dressing either like Prairie Victorian or modern kindergarten teacher. I sort of ping-ponged back and forth between those 2 aesthetics. So I will probably continue to work those styles in. I have a lot of long skirts from my Edwardian costuming adventures that I just like wearing in my everyday life. And I have kind of missed wearing those. And I've also missed being able to sort of go the quirky route with the kindergarten teacher aesthetic. So I'm probably just going to do a lot of dopamine dressing. I think that's what I will settle on. And in a way, dressing vintage is my dopamine dressing, but it's not the only thing that brings me joy, so I will be playing around with different things. That is, of course, looking forward. I was supposed to be looking back. I didn't script this video. I have some notes, some sticky notes that I stuck on my tripod. Just some talking points that I want to make sure I cover. I've had 2 cups of coffee today, and I'm a little loopy. Now, I had wanted to make a 5-year anniversary video this time last year, But if you recall, this time last year I was severely depressed and I was not making anything. I wasn't sewing and I wasn't making content. I got out of that depressive funk, which is probably pretty obvious, but you know, it took some time. I think for about a month I was just not doing well, and fortunately I was able to spend Christmas time with a lot of family, and that helped a lot. And I was able to focus on my kids and doing, you know, joyful Christmas activities with them. That did definitely raise my spirits. And like I said, these days I am doing better. I am still paying attention to the news and trying not to let it pull me under. But, you know, it's bad out there. But I do try to make my content as light and joyful as possible, because I feel like that's my role in this current moment. I use YouTube as a viewer to not distract myself, but to soothe my soul when times are hard. And the creators I love are the ones who are joyful and giving life. So I want to also be that for others. So let's talk about the current moment. I am specifically currently doing some mending on my vintage swing coat, which, as you know, I have worn quite a lot in my year of dressing vintage. It's probably my most worn garment of all of them. I don't have the hard facts to back that up, but I will do a full wrap up in March when I have all of that data, and I'll let you know. I think this is going to be in the top 3 for sure, because it is such a great cool weather garment to throw on, especially in the mornings of fall and spring when it's chilly, but I know it's going to be hot later, so don't really want to commit to a full winter coat. But as you can see, it has needed some repair. When I made the swing coat, I used some black bias tape from my stash to bind the collar edge and give it a nice clean inside finish. And I wore it several times before I had any problems, but towards the end of last winter, it started shredding really badly. And I'll show you a clip of what that looked like. So you can see the bias tape was dry rotted and was just completely coming apart. So obviously I needed to replace it. And the reason I used black in the first place was because I didn't have anything that matched this color. It's a very specific shade of blue. And I also used black lace hem binding for the hem. And I was never really pleased with how that looked, but it was kind of my only option, once again. But then recently, I rediscovered this little stash of pre-hemmed satin fabric that is pretty much the same shade of blue. And the reason it's pre-hemmed is because it's the cutoffs from an alteration on a dress, probably, that either me or my mom altered for somebody. And then I stuck that in my stash because when I was learning to sew, I sewed a lot of American Girl doll clothes. And I did not like hemming. That took a long time and it annoyed me, so I tried to get out of it whenever possible by just putting a ruffle at the bottom of whatever skirt I was making. And those cut-off hems of dresses from prom or bridesmaids or mother of the bride's dresses, which my mom did a lot of alterations on, they were perfect ruffles. Like pre-made, pre-hemmed, usually substantial width of fabric and usually fairly uniform in width. So really anytime my mom hemmed a dress for someone, I grabbed those hemmed bits and then they just became part of my stash. This particular hem had been in my stash for so long I had forgotten about it. And like I said, I found it recently, realized it was the right color, got very excited, and proceeded to remove the old bias facing and the old hem facing and replace them with this lovely satin. Waste not, want not. So I am very much looking forward to having this coat back in rotation once it is finished. I did all of the seam ripping, ironing, cutting, piecing, and machine sewing a few days ago, and now I'm just finishing up the hand sewing. And we are almost done. Here's how the new hem facing looks. It's on the inside, but this is a swing coat and it does swing open, so I really wanted to have the same color on the inside, and I like how that satin looks. Even though it did get a little bit warped, I'm okay with it. It's on the inside. I do also want to cover up these little bits of seam tape that I put underneath the stitching on the tops of the pockets to reinforce that, because this wool is a little bit loosely woven and I didn't want the pockets to pull out. So I think I'm going to take scraps of the leftover satin and just cover those up so they aren't as obvious. Because once again, the coat swings open and then you can see them. That's always bothered me, but I didn't have a solution before now. So that's my current project. I am also still working on vintage garments to add to my vintage wardrobe. I just can't stop. I have so many plans, and I'm still working through my stash of fabric and my stash of patterns. I haven't really bought anything new as far as fabric or patterns since I started my year of sewing vintage, which was in January 2024, with the exception of the blue plaid fabric for my plaid circle skirt, because I just fell in love with that fabric and I had to have it, and then I pretty much immediately made the circle skirt, so it wasn't in my stash very long. It got used and it makes me so happy. That's probably my second most worn garment from the year of dressing vintage. So yeah, just always adding to my wardrobe. But I'm adding clothes that I wear in my everyday life, and that is bringing me so much joy. I really like this new focus that I've had for the past 2 years of specifically making outfits that I want to wear every day versus focusing a lot of time and attention on one single historical garment that I will then wear maybe 2 or 3 times, but quite frequently only once. I do still enjoy that type of project, and I do plan to get back into doing them, maybe one big one a year, but I don't want that to be the main focus of either my sewing or my channel. Partly because then my video uploads are very infrequent, and I am currently trying very hard to have a consistent upload schedule. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have been uploading pretty consistently on Thursdays for the past couple of months, and I'm very proud of myself that I've kept that up. I've been working hard at it, and that's partly because it's a good way to keep myself motivated to keep working on things and keep in the groove of editing and uploading so that I don't stop and then have to start again. It's just better for my workflow to keep churning it out. But also partly because I have a goal of getting monetized by the end of the year. I am currently so close. So for those of you who don't know, in order to get into the YouTube Partner Program, where you can get paid for the ads that YouTube already puts on your videos, because you've probably seen ads on my videos unless you have YouTube Premium, but I do not get paid for those because I am not yet in the YouTube Partner Program. There are a couple common misconceptions about YouTube monetization. One is that you automatically get monetized when you reach 1,000 subscribers, and the other is that if YouTube is playing ads on your videos, you must therefore be monetized. Neither of those are true. There are 2 qualifications for being in the YouTube Partner Program. You have to have both at least 1,000 subscribers and at least 4,000 public watch hours in the last 365 days. So that's not the life of your channel, it's just in the last year, and the year keeps moving. So my goal is specifically to get it by the end of the year, because then I will definitely get the benefit of a huge spike in watch hours that I had back in February for my winter coat part 1 video. The part 2 video didn't do nearly as well, but the part 1 video got so many views, it kind of went mini viral. It was a lot of views for me, for my channel. I usually get a couple hundred, but this was in the thousands and it was very exciting. So since that spike was in February, I need to get to the 4,000 watch hours before that spike falls off of the rolling 365 days. So my goal is the end of the year. My goal is December 31st. It would be really cool if I made it before this video goes live on my YouTube anniversary, December 13th. Hey, future Chelsea, how's that looking? Well, we're getting closer. Just over 300 watch hours left. Okay, well, there's still some time to go. I'm not worried. I have been inching closer and closer and closer to that 4,000 watch hours, which is a big part of why I have been keeping a consistent upload schedule. I've been trying to put up 1 video a week, usually on Thursdays. That's my favorite day, so that's the day I chose for my uploads, with the off weeks being whatever day of the week the 22nd happens to fall on, because that's when I do my monthly wrap-up videos. And this one is also an exception because my YouTube anniversary is on a Saturday, not a Thursday, and I wanted the video to come out on the actual day. I am filming it a week ahead of time so that I have time to do the editing, because that is the part that takes the longest. One day I will do a video where I show how long it takes me to edit a video. In the meantime, I've finished the binding on the neckline of my coat, so that's exciting. Time to start a new hand sewing project. Okay, next project is a very sad story, I have to tell you. My neck bow blouse, the gray rayon neck bow blouse, which I really love, got eaten by my washing machine. Not even the dryer. The washing machine ate it. I really should have put it in a mesh garment bag to wash, because these ties get tangled up with other things, and then that's what pulled. So that ripped right along the collar edge and then turned the corner and kept ripping along the grain line at the shoulder seam. So I'm going to see if I can repair this, but I have to seam rip the tie away first. And I think I'll have to seam rip the shoulder seam and then try to patch it maybe. I really hope this is repairable because I really like this blouse and I would like to have it back in my rotation. But I might make the tie collar a removable piece so that I can avoid this issue in the future. Also in the current moment, a non-sewing project that I've been doing is cleaning my sewing studio 10 minutes at a time, which you may have already seen if you've watched my YouTube shorts or if you follow me on TikTok. And that has been going really well. My studio is slowly becoming cleaner, more organized, and more usable. And I think the 10 minutes at a time format works really well for me because I don't have to psych myself up for a full day of cleaning or even a full hour. I can just be like, every time I go out to my studio, I'm going to clean for 10 minutes and then I'm going to sew the rest of the time. So I get that initial, little dopamine boost of doing a good job, but it's not like settling down to a slog of cleaning, which is not my favorite thing. So I'm going to keep going with that series, and when my studio is finally clean enough that I am willing to show it off, I will finally do a full studio tour. That has been a long time coming. And then I might also do a series of mending projects as YouTube shorts as well, because as I've been cleaning, I've been adding things to my mending basket, and eventually, well, it's already overflowing. So eventually I need to start actually doing those projects. Alright, sounds like the lawn care guy is here, so that's lunch. And we're back. And I found a couple of tiny scraps of the gray rayon. We'll see if I can get something out of that. This feels a little bit like I'm doing one of those end of year wrap-up videos, which I guess it kind of is. So maybe I should talk about my plans for the new year. As you know, I have 3 months left in my year of dressing vintage. And I also got an idea from my mom, who's been visiting me. A quilt shop that she follows on Facebook has been doing UFOs once a month. And so while I've been cleaning my sewing studio, I have also been setting aside some of my UFO projects. And I'm going to put them all in boxes with numbers on them and then draw a number out of a hat once a month and do that project. Finish that UFO. And I'm really looking forward to that. So I think that will be another series in addition to the mending basket one. I don't know if I'll do that on shorts or not. That might be a full-length video series. How do we feel about shorts, by the way? Do you guys like them? Do you watch them? I have very mixed feelings about both doing and watching shorts. So I would really love to hear your thoughts. Also, let me know if you found my channel via the shorts feed or whatever it's called. I would be very interested to know. Okay, I have seam ripped the flat felled seam of the shoulder, and I think I'm going to use this little long strip piece and just sew a patch over that and then put that flat felled seam back down. And I'll need to extend the neckline edge. It looks like I don't actually have enough fabric scraps to make like a little standing collar, which is what I was thinking of doing, because then I could have this piece be detachable, but I may need to just sew it right back into the neckline. I really did use like all of this fabric when I was making it. I have such small scraps left. And yes, this is why I save everything. Another thing I've been doing is making a lot of hats, and I have a lot more hats planned. My hat making videos have not been performing quite as well as my regular sewing content, so do put a comment if you like the hat making videos, and I will keep doing them. I'm gonna keep making hats regardless because it is so much fun. An argument could be made that I don't need any more hats. I would not make that argument, but others might. I also wanted to shout out Certifiably Jenny, used to be Cornwall Pocket Farms. She featured me and 11 other channels in a video called The Best Sewing and Knitting Channels on YouTube, Vintage Style Small Content Creators, back in the beginning of October. And I was so touched and humbled. She said some really nice things about me, and you should go watch her video. I have linked it in the description, and I'll also put it up here in a little card. I didn't see the video right away because although you have the ability to tag other creators on YouTube, YouTube doesn't notify you if you've been tagged, which seems like a huge wasted opportunity to me, but I only saw it because I got an unrelated notification in my community tab that I can now turn on viewer posts, which let me know if you want me to do that. So far I haven't, and I couldn't get that notification to turn off, which was very annoying, but I noticed right next to that tab was mentions, and I thought, let me just check and see if anyone has mentioned me recently. And Jenny had, so I was very surprised and pleased to see that. And there was no notification on the mentions tab. I don't understand it. And like I said, she also tagged 11 other creators, which you should go check out if you haven't already. And in the spirit of paying it forward, I guess, I would like to mention some of my favorite channels. These will all be linked in the description, of course. Rachel Maxey, The Stitchery, Cat's Costumery, Jen Sews Vintage, Crescent Shea, From Carly B, The Glambassador, Morgan Donner, Nicole Rudolph, Loopsy, Serena Dyer, Retro Claude, AJ Knight Sews, Asta Darling, Book How, Drew Hayden Keelan, Elin Abrahamson, Enchanted Rose Costumes, So Rena, Shannon Makes, Tiny Angry Crafts, Willoughby and Rose, Christine Vike, and Sewstein. So if you enjoy my content and you like sewing videos in general, you will probably enjoy all of those. Well, I think I'm all out of hand sewing for now. I need to take this to the ironing board, press it, and start working on the actual repair. And I think I've run out of things to talk about, so I will wrap this up here. I hope you enjoyed this different style of video, and if you did, feel free to give me a like, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe, especially if any of those series I mentioned sound interesting to you. And let me know in the comments if you watch YouTube Shorts. And I will see you in the next one. Bye! My first upload. The train would also like a say. Oh good, now there's a helicopter. Also, let me know if you found my channel. Also, let me know if you found my channel. Wow, I cannot speak.